بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. So we are now continuing with the third episode of the proof of existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talked previously about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the signs and that it is the logic that we understand the presence of Allah, because this system and this creation logically could not have existed on its own. So we covered that point. And then the second point we covered is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through our basic instincts, we believe in this creation, this Almighty Allah, because when we were souls, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us all and said, bear witness, and they bear witness, and we all bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And we discussed, how people, if they're born and left without any influence, they will be believers in Allah. The third point are some of the scientific evidence and other evidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala points to us or points us to within the Quran as proof, again, additional proof of the presence of Allah. Now, in that perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, you don't see me, but here are the signs that I do exist. And basically, it is the creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying these examples are giving, there are many examples, we're going to cover 2 or 3. It is just like when we see the light bulb, right? There's a light, we see the light, but it is not the light that's lighting on its own. It's electricity that's coming and lighting it. Do we see the electricity? No. But we know through the logic that this light, there's electricity for the same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't see him. Inshallah, if we are among the blessed to see him on the day in heaven, but we see his signs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse of Surah Fussilat, verse 53, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, says, سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق أولم يكف بربك أنه على كل شيء شهيد. We will show them our signs in the universe and within themselves until it becomes too clear to them that this is the truth, that this Quran is the truth, that this faith is the truth. It is not enough. Is it not enough that your Lord is a witness over all these? Another slightly different translation, we will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes too clear to them that it is the truth. It is not sufficient concerning your Lord, that he is all over all things a witness on this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing to that we will in themselves. Now, when we look in ourselves, there are so many things that biologists are discovering, the hormones, how the bones, how the muscles work, how all of these are connected. And this by itself is a miracle. Our human being, our creation, and how these systems work together like a machine, a very sophisticated, well-organized, where the orders come from the nervous system, goes to the muscle is attached to the bone is the skeleton, then there are biological aspects in the body where they're always working day and night, controlling, like monitoring. And some of the things that are amazing is that these cells are always dying and there are cells produced in all the body. But there's also quality check, quality control system, where any cell that is produced that has an error in its genetic code, it gets killed. and that's called, there are killer cells. It's called killer cells. They go and kill these cells, because if they don't kill them, they become basically cancer and tumors. That's why when this system fails, cancers happen. I mean, this is amazing. Like, when you have this system at the microscopic level, within the nucleus, within the genetic code, within the cell, with each cell, that by itself is speaking to this verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we will show them our miracles in themselves, and also in the horizons and around them in the universe, until they are seeing, or it becomes clear that this is the truth, and there is no doubt about it. Another verse, which is in Surah Al-Rahman, verse 38, and this is something that science does not know, or did not know, how the system works, how the solar system works, who moves when, until there was spaceships and there were telescopes and all of that. So this Quran, of course, is 1440 years or more when it was revealed. Yet it was very clearly described that the sun moves, and that it runs. So here it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. The sun travels for its fixed term. That is the design of Allah Almighty. And another description, and the sun runs on a course towards a stopping point, or to back to the starting point. So it's going, that means it's going in a circle. And that is, we all know that the solar system, the sun moves and the solar system moves. And so previously, science thought that the whole universe revolves around the sun, and that the sun does not move. And so this is yet another evidence how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described solar astronomy many years that no one could have known, not the Prophet ﷺ, and no one in his time. Yet another third example is also from Surah Al-Rahman, which is Surah 55, and the verse is 19. And in it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described a phenomena where whenever there are two seas that they meet at a point, their type of water does not mix with each other. So each sea preserves its own salinity, its own characteristics, and does not mix with the other sea, even though they're meeting each other, as if there is a barrier. And this is exactly what this verse in Surah Al-Rahman says. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان. And the two bodies, and this is not actually, see, that's one of the things you can see here. There are two explanations. One says the merges of two bodies, the fresh and salt water, right? Then the other one says he released, or the two seas meeting each other. The second is actually the accurate translation. That's why you can see translation, no matter what language it is up to whoever is translating it. Because the first translation, although seems correct, fresh and salt water, that is not what actually this verse is saying. It's saying the two seas. The two seas. It doesn't say the river and the sea. It didn't say the lake or the sea. It says the two seas, while here it's saying fresh and salt water. So the translation here thought that this is describing the fresh and the salt water, but it is not. It's two seas. And then the next verse is saying between them is a barrier they never cross. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next verse says فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So which of your Lord's favors do you deny? Or which of your Lord's bounties do you deny? And then the next verse says, يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمَا اللُّؤْلُؤُ وَالْمَرْجَانُ. So this is referring what? To the two seas. That's why it can't be water. It can't be fresh water. It is, both of them are two seas. Why? Because here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, out of both of waters comes pearls and coral. The coral is not in fresh water. It is in oceans and seas. So that's why this phenomena was discovered in the 60s or 70s or 50s, in, like, by one of the oceanographers who went and analyzed this and was very surprised. And this is, you can find it online, that they found for the first time, they learned that actually these seas, like the Mediterranean with the Atlantic, or any other sea meeting any other, they found that there's almost like an invisible barrier between them that doesn't cross. Like the waters, even though they meet, they don't mix and become different. And that by itself is just an amazing phenomena that they were surprised to find, but it's already very clearly described in the Quran.